Hello everybody and welcome to episode 9 of the Chesterfield of Dreams on this 26th of December, whichever name you prefer to give it. I prefer St. Stephen's Day myself, but we'll forget about that and just carry on with the first report of my championship season. And you can probably assume the worst because I am second bottom by virtue of goal difference with 1 win and 9 defeats, and basically we've been completely outclassed in the majority of our games, but some of them we were genuinely competitive and we were still beaten, and I can't really explain that. So basically we have a long way to go to survive in this league, but if we can get a few wins going, then maybe we'll stand a minor chance. But we have Blackpool and the MK Dons in the relegation zone with us, and the other team that got promoted, Preston, are doing quite well, but they could be doing better given their reasonable lofty standards. So what on earth has gone on? Well, here it is in all its misery. We'll begin with the 3-0 loss against Brighton that you saw on the live comm. We were fairly well outclassed. We did resist for 56 minutes, but then we were easily outclassed from there. And then I don't know what to say about this one, to be honest. It was just the match engine. Any highlight seemed to favour Walsall. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, because I played my backup team and they were understandably not ready for pre-season, and they just turned up and barely, put in an effort, and they allowed a lower league team like Walsall to just pile drive through us. Where are they? Do you see them? There they are. They beat West Brom in the second round, and they were beaten by Ipswich in the third round, so that's quite interesting. But anyway, back to the schedule, we'll find out what happened from there on in. Newcastle United, we gave them a good game, but we really bottled it. You could see we took 2 goals to the good within 21 minutes, but then by half time we were behind. I don't know what happened. It was basically another example where probably the match engine just said, "Oh, you're doing too well, we're going to peg you back." So I don't want to completely blame the match engine. It is what it is, but there are just things that I can't seem to prevent no matter what I do. Next up is Bournemouth here. We were the deserved losers. We conceded twice in 8 minutes, and then Mercannon got us a goal back, but an own goal from our rather unlucky goalkeeper denied us that game. Reading were too good. Emmanuel Riviere, he was signed from Newcastle for a very cheap fee, in fairness to him, 800 or 400k, and he's made more goals and appearances so far this season, and thanks to me, that was probably a reason why. So his career has tumbled, but it's not quite over for him, so he's reviving himself. But unfortunately, Stoke, our first ever visit to the infamous Britannia, with Tony Pulis in charge, we were beaten by the 2 Irishmen, Mark Wilson and Johnny Walters, so I was disappointed profusely with that one. You can see there Tony Pulis still in charge. We move on now to Charlton. We had a red card for Jack Price, and deservingly so, despite us getting an equaliser just at the start of the second half. Guy Roberts scored a penalty. We just didn't hold on yet again, and I don't know what to say about that one. We tried to get an equaliser to please our home fans, but it didn't work out, so we were deservingly beaten. Leeds United again outclassed us, nothing much to say about that. An interesting game against Ipswich. I think we should have won this one, even though the stats lie, in my opinion. We had the goal given away in the first half to an Irish, Turkish, English tri-national there, Ramadan. We got Urko Markkanen to score, and the momentum was completely in our favour. But then pretty much we had the injury to Ollie Banks that ruined our formation, and Albert Adumas scored from a corner, I believe, and Ian Evett got himself sent off a minute later. So very disappointing. And then probably the worst defeat I've suffered. Like, Burnley are no They're no joke, but we really could have won this game when we took the lead through Gary Roberts. A bit of a tap in for him, but then a corner on the 41st minute allowed Nathan Baker to score, and then another corner, just a low driven corner, found James Wilson, the Manchester United loanee, and he made it 2-1. But at last we got a victory here against our old enemies, Preston North End. Ari scored in the 4th minute, and Owen Doyle got us 2-0 up, but after Maurice DeVille was injured. But Neil Kilkenny got a goal back, and the pressure was on. They were beginning to make some chances, and even Owen Doyle got himself injured, so we had to sort that out. But thank goodness we held on and got our first win of the season against a team that's been doing really well despite being promoted. So that's my diagnosis of our poor start to the season. But what do you expect? I couldn't really do much. We were very secure at the start of the season. We're now down to secure as we're just trying to survive the relegation. So a long schedule before our FA Cup third round game on the 2nd of January. So we got a busy schedule. Certainly 2 Bolton games in quick succession. That's a bit weird. But the ones we want to look out for, obviously the MK Dons, Wolves, Brentford, probably Blackpool's a winnable game as well. So the rest I'm not too sure about. But we did get our first win, and anything could happen from there on in. But I expect to be beaten by Wigan and Fulham, to be honest. They are reasonably good teams. So we'll look at our tactics. We'll see what's going on. You can see I've been trying out different things, which is probably not a good idea. But a 4-2-3-1, it hasn't been working because we really need to get some goals. But we tried a 4-2-4 in our last game, and it paid off. But you can see we have to rotate a lot of players since we're all busy. Ollie Banks, as you can, if you remember, he's injured for 5 to 6 weeks. Jay O'Shea came back from injury after the pre-season. I made a new signing again. His name is Paul McGinn. I brought him in as a right back, as we were short on centre backs and a potential good right back as well. So I decided to bring him in for about 100 grand or 200 grand. I forget how much was it. It was 200 grand, yeah. So we brought him in from Dundee. Who else? Jordi Hewula got an injury. He got a flu, so he was out for a fortnight, but he's back. Yes, apart from that, not many positive reports. You can see the defenders obviously have low average ratings. Jack Bryce obviously got himself sent off, but he redeemed himself with a man of the match performance against Preston. So his suspension was 3 games, and he decided, I better make up for that and get a man of the match. So I was delighted with that. Rafael Calve, not bad, 6.63. But obviously some below par performances. But he's starting to get the hang of this league. You can see when he was getting runs of games he wasn't enjoying himself, but now being a bit more sporadic in his appearances, and he's starting to enjoy that. Sam Morsley, probably an underrated player for my team. He's been very consistent, actually, even getting a long range goal against Reading. So no dreadful performances from him. So I think our strength is our midfield. We have good midfielders, just not many of them. We don't have the depth. But Jimmy Ryan, another prime example, he's actually gotten above a 7.0 in our game so far. We'll scroll up for you now. You can see he's been extremely consistent, and he's a vital cog in our gears if we're going to survive relegation. But apart from that, not too many have stood out. Gary Roberts is doing okay. Probably our best striker is Urko Markkanen, but again, not too many stand-up performances. Tommy Lee, I'll mention him again. He started out extremely poorly. You can see, we conceded a hell of a lot of goals in our early games, but even though the ratings are okay, he did a magnificent job to keep out Ipswich for as long as he did, and he kept Preston out for 70 minutes, so he's starting to get used to this league. But Cody Cropper will have to remain on the bench. So we'll just see how many goals everybody scored. I don't know about that myself. Selection info, goals. Owen Doyle, Roberts and Markkanen have 2, and everyone else from Aribley down to Ryan all have 1 goal, so not a fantastic amount of goals, has to be said. We'll look at our our analysis. We'll need to see our goals conceded, because we'll look at our last 10 games. the league. So we've 10 games to report on. Goal, assists, conceded 7 corners. Now that's a red flag if ever I've seen it. We're very bad at conceding those corners, and I don't know how to deal with it. Like, we've been practicing our set piece defence for weeks now, and no real difference has been made. Like, in fairness, you can see how I've put teamwork on, but I just don't understand that one myself. You know, I don't know really how to set up a tactic. Like, you have to set up a sort of a wizard to do it for you, but I could use a bit of advice since I'm not the best at that sort of thing. We can also note that we've scored more passes than we've conceded, which is good. We haven't scored a free kick or a cross yet, or a long ball, so we've very little in the way of variety in our goals, and that's something that we'll need to change as well. So any advice would be appreciated. You can see the assist locations are down here. You can see 7 on this side and 6 in the box. That's not good. That really has to be sorted out as soon as possible. I do have some signings to mention. I already mentioned McGinn. He came in for 200k. That's fair enough. That was after the episode finished, I believe. We'll look at our staff. We brought in 2 more staff to cope with our defensive frailties because I was allowed under the board's guidelines. So Kenny Black from Scotland is in to defensive coach, and Peter Enkelman will provide more goalkeeping coaching for our players. So that's good. One last thing before I go. The finances are okay, but we're losing attendances. You can look back, you'll see our attendance drop from sellout to about 8,000, which is not good. But one last thing I want to raise with you is one of my signings that didn't occur. Tom Rogic from from Celtic. His work permit was rejected, even though he's previously worked in the UK with Celtic. So could anyone explain that for me, why his work permit would have failed? Because he would have been a very handy player to sign for our attacking options. You can see he only plays attacking midfield central, but he has good stats that would have really helped us out. Advanced playmaker would be the one I would have played him as. He's a 4-star. Everything is good apart from his composure. So could anyone explain to me why he would have lost his work permit even though his last employer was British? I'm afraid I'm a bit confused with that one. But I think I'm gone on plenty enough. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll speak again soon. Any questions, well, you can leave them down below. I hope you enjoy your festive celebrations for now until New Year's. So goodbye for now.